progressively tapered nickel-titanium rotary files, the latest innovation in effective and efficient root canal preparation. Протейпер nickel-titanium rotary files are specially designed to instrument difficult, calcified, and curved canals. The patented progressive taper and advanced flute design provide the flexibility and efficiency to achieve consistent, successful cleaning and shaping when faced with these challenges. The basic series is comprised of 3 shaping and 3 finishing instruments. Let's look at the shaping files. The auxiliary shaping file, or Shaping X, has an overall length of 19 millimeters, providing excellent access in restrictive areas. This SX file has a D0 diameter of 0.19 millimeter, a modified guiding tip, 14 millimeters of cutting blades, and a D14 diameter approaching 1.2 millimeter. The SX has a much faster rate of taper from D0 to D9 as compared to the other 2 shaping files. For example, at approximately D6, D7, D8, and D9, the instrument's cross-sectional diameters are equivalent to 0.5 millimeter, 0.7 millimeter, 0.9 millimeter, and 1.1 millimeter, respectively. This file is used to optimally shape canals in shorter roots, relocate canals away from external root concavities, and to produce more shape as desired in the coronal aspects of canals in longer roots. The SX file provides many advantages over Gates Glidden and other coronal shaping instruments used today. Shaping files number 1 and 2 have D0 diameters of 0.17 millimeter and 0.20 millimeter and a modified guiding tip. Their maximal flute diameters approach 1.2 millimeter each. Additionally, each shaping file has 14 millimeters of cutting blades. The shaping files have increasingly larger tapers over the length of their cutting blades, allowing each instrument to engage, cut, and prepare a specific area of the canal. Shaping file number 1, or S1, is designed to prepare the coronal 1/3 of the canal, whereas shaping file number 2, or S2, enlarges and prepares the middle 1/3. Although both instruments optimally prepare the coronal 2/3 of a canal, they do progressively enlarge its apical 1/3. 3 finishing files have been developed to address the obvious variations in cross-sectional diameters that canals exhibit in their apical 1/3. The finishing instruments have D0 diameters of 20, 25, and 30. Between D0 and D3, they taper at rates of 7, 8, and 9% respectively. From D4 to D14, each instrument has a smaller percentage taper, which increases flexibility. To improve its flexibility, finishing file number 3 has a reduced core section as compared to the other Протейпер finishing instruments. Although these instruments have been designed to optimally finish the apical 1/3, they do progressively expand the shape in the middle 1/3 of the canal. Generally, only one finishing instrument is required to prepare the apical 1/3 of a canal. The one selected is based on the canal's curvature and cross-sectional diameter. A unique feature of the shaping files is their progressively tapered design, which clinically serves to significantly improve flexibility and cutting efficiency, and typically reduces the number of recapitulations needed to achieve length, especially in tight or more curved canals. They have a convex triangular cross-section, which reduces the contact area between the file and the dentine. This greater cutting efficiency has been safely incorporated through balancing the pitch and helical angles. This combination of engineering features helps to prevent the instruments from inadvertently being screwed into the canal. All the Протейпер instruments effectively remove debris from the canal, and generally only 3 to 4 Протейпер instruments are required to produce a fully tapered canal that exhibits uniform shape over length. The Протейпер instruments may be used in gear reduction, electric handpieces at 300 RPM. The selected electric motor should afford consistent speed control. Advancements in electric motors provide clinicians with the ability to choose the required RPM and torque control for each specific instrument. Other guidelines include frequently cleaning and inspecting the instruments, and only using them in a well-irrigated and lubricated canal. Never force the instruments. Work them only to light resistance. It's important with any Nai-Tai rotary shaping system to have exact working length determinations. And finally, when you take any Протейпер instrument to working length, take it only one time and then immediately withdraw it. This animated demonstration shows the instrument sequence in a relatively long, calcified, and moderately curved canal. As with any endodontic technique, good straight-line access to the orifices is necessary. Following access, the pulp chamber is filled completely with either sodium hypochlorite or a lubricant such as Glide. We will focus our attention on a single canal of this animated lower molar. Begin the procedure by exploring the root canal space with a stainless steel number 10 hand file. This instrument is generally fed into the canal using a small back and forth motion. When the handle is snug, pull it out of the canal. Repeat this motion and work the number 10 file passively and progressively until it is a few millimeters short of the estimated working length. The number 10 file gives us information about the cross-sectional diameter of the canal, if its handle is positioned on or off the long axis of the tooth, which indicates the appropriateness of the access, and the anatomy of the root canal system. Because this is a medium-long length canal, we will start the Протейпер sequence by selecting shaping file number 1, which has a purple ring on its handle. Before using this S1, irrigate and fill the pulp chamber with sodium hypochlorite. This instrument will passively follow the previously established glide path and will progressively move deeper into the canal. The S1 is carried into the canal and allowed to move apically to just short of the depth of the hand files which preceded it. In more difficult canals, it may require 1 or 2 recapitulations. Now, irrigate. Go back in with the number 10 hand file to break up debris, and then re-irrigate. When the handles of the hand files are off the long axis of the tooth, then use shaping file X, which has a gold-colored handle with no ring. Note how the SX file is used here. Let this instrument passively feed into the canal a few millimeters. When light resistance is encountered, withdraw the instrument and cut the dentine on the outstroke. The SX file is used like a brush to selectively remove dentine, relocate the canal away from furcal danger, and to achieve straight-line radicular access. With improved access, the SX instrument is passively carried a little deeper into the canal until about 2/3 of the overall length of its cutting blades are below the orifice. Don't forget to irrigate. Now use a pre-curved number 10 hand file to negotiate the rest of the canal. Establish patency and confirm the working length. Then use shaping file number 1 to length. This instrument will generally move to length easily, since there is a smooth, reproducible glide path to the terminus. Following the use of S1, irrigate. Shaping file number 2 has a white ring on its handle and will typically go to full working length on the first pass. Again, irrigate. Now that the coronal 2/3 of the canal have been optimally prepared, the apical 1/3 can be finished. Finishing file number 1 has a yellow ring on its handle, which means that its tip diameter is equivalent to a 20 file. With the canal flooded with irrigant, carefully take the F1 to the working length. In this particular case, this is the appropriate size for the apical region. In other cases, apically gauge the canal with hand files. Use finishing file 2 and finishing file 3 as needed for the particular canal. This is how the Протейпер instruments work in a lower molar. Begin with proper access. A straight line to the canal openings is essential for successful endodontic therapy. Open up the canal sufficiently so that you will not have to bend instruments to get them down the canal. Once access is complete, explore the canal. Start with the number 10 hand file. The hand file will alert you to any calcification or cervical curves, which may not have been apparent in your pre-op radiograph. Gently work the hand file to a few millimeters short of your estimated working length. The first Протейпер at this sequence is the Shaping 1 or S1 instrument. Always use these instruments in a well-lubricated canal. Work the S1 gently to about 3/4 of the estimated canal depth, about the same depth as achieved by the hand files which preceded it. These instruments are very efficient. Therefore, they should be removed from the canal space frequently and cleaned. In addition to improving efficiency, this will help to minimize the stress placed on the instruments. The Shaping X file, or SX, is the next instrument. Its purpose is coronal enlargement. It's a very safe instrument for moving a canal opening away from furcal danger. This is accomplished by using the instrument in a paintbrush manner. Only engage the canal wall on the upstroke. Take a little dentine with each pass until you have opened up the space sufficiently. With the orifice opened, turn your attention to the apical region. Use a number 10 hand file to explore the apex. Now use S1 again. It should be able to reach working length. Do not force the instrument. Avoid the tendency to lean on the handpiece if the going gets tough. This should be an indication to remove, clean, and inspect the instrument. Shaping file 2 or S2 is next. This instrument is worked to length, then is immediately withdrawn. Finishing the canal shape in the apical region is next. The finishing files present 3 options for apical size preparation. Begin with finishing file number 1 or F1. This has a 20 tip diameter. Carefully work it to length and remove. Following the use of the F1, gauge the size of the foramen by simply dropping a 20 hand file to length. If the 20 hand file is snug at the working length, then the canal is optimally prepared and ready to be obturated. If the 20 hand file is loose, then proceed on to the rotary finishing file number 2. This file has a red ring on its handle, equivalent to a 25 hand file. With the pulp chamber filled with sodium hypochlorite, carry the F2 to length. following its use. Measure the size of the foramen by placing a 25 hand file to length. If the 25 is snug at length, then the canal is finished and you are ready to obturate. If the 25 hand file is loose at length, proceed on to finishing file number 3, which has a blue ring on its handle. Carefully carry this F3 instrument to the desired working length and then gauge the foramen with the 30 hand file. The Protapers are available in boxes of 6 instruments. An ergonomic sterilizable organizer is also available. Protaper is the latest innovation in effective and efficient root canal preparation.